Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're heading north to Minnesota to explore a park that's been called a hidden gem, Savanna Portage State Park. To get the full picture, we've dug into YouTube videos, articles, even park websites, and
Yeah, it seems like this park is a bit of a best-kept secret. It's actually the third largest state park in Minnesota, but a lot of folks haven't even heard of it.
okay, so it's big and under the radar.
Got it.
Got it. What else is making this park stand out to you?
Well, a lot of the sources mention how easy it is to find open campsites even in the busy season. And that's pretty rare these days.
Open campsites all the time. Sign me up. So where exactly is this magical place?
You'll find it near McGregor, Minnesota. You take Highway 65 and head northeast for about 17 miles.
Okay, cool. And then what?
Then get ready for a little off-roading adventure. There's a winding 1.5-mile gravel road that takes you right to the heart of the park.
Sounds like they really want to keep this place a secret.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay, so we've got the lowdown on the location and the open campsites. What about the park itself? What makes it special?
Well, one of the YouTube videos we watched focused on the Savanna Portage Trail, and it sounds like a real step back in time.
A historic trail. Tell me more.
For centuries, this trail was used by Native Americans and later fur traders. It's a 6-mile route connecting the Mississippi River and Lake Superior watersheds.
Wow, 6 miles. That's no walk in the park.
Oh no, it definitely wasn't. Imagine hauling canoes and all your supplies through marshes and swamps and dense forests for 6 miles.
Yeah, that puts my weekend hikes into perspective.
Yo,
Okay, this is blowing my mind. Savanna Portage State Park is on the Continental Divide.
it is! Isn't that incredible?
It means that a drop of water falling in the park could end up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Or it could flow all the way to the Atlantic Ocean.
So cool. It's like this little park is a hydrological crossroads. All right, let's move on to the fun stuff. What kind of adventures can we have at Savanna Portage?
You name it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Hiking, fishing, kayaking, canoeing.
Okay, so it's got the water activities covered.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget swimming, camping, even geocaching and snowshoeing in the winter.
Wow, they really do have something for everyone. What about trails? Any standouts besides that Savanna Portage Trail?
Definitely. The Continental Divide Trail is a popular one. It's a 1-mile loop with amazing views. And if you're looking for a more relaxed experience, there's the Beaver Pond Loop and the Bog Boardwalk Trail.
Bog Boardwalk. I am intrigued. Okay, before we get sidetracked by the bog, we have to talk about the lakes. Savanna Portage has 4 of them. Loon Lake, Wolf Lake, Shumway Lake, and Savannah Lake. What's the deal with these lakes? What makes each one unique?
Well, Loon Lake is known for being super peaceful. It's a no-wake lake, perfect for kayaking and just enjoying the quiet.
And I'm guessing it's got loons?
Of course. It also has a swimming beach and a picnic area, so it's perfect for a family day out.
Sounds idyllic. What about Wolf Lake?
Wolf Lake is a birdwatcher's paradise. Apparently, you can see everything from bald eagles to sandhill cranes there.
Wow, amazing. And what about Shumway?
Shumway Lake is where you'll find the campground and a fishing pier. One YouTuber we watched actually caught a bunch of bluegill right off that pier.
Now we're talking. A peaceful lake, a fishing pier, and the promise of bluegill. Sign me up. Speaking of camping, what kind of options are there at Savanna Portage?
They have over 100 campsites.
Wow, 100. That's a lot.
Yeah, you've got your primitive tent sites, sites with electric hookups, and even a group campsite on Savannah Lake if you're with a bigger group.
What about those cool camper cabins I saw online?
Those are a great option too. It's called the Garney Guest House. So many choices, but no matter where you camp, you might have some wild neighbors.
Okay, now you've got my attention. What kind of wildlife are we talking about here?
Moose, black bears, deer.
Whoa, black bears.
Yeah, one of our sources actually had a close encounter with a black bear near the park.
Okay, good to know. So we need to be bear aware.
Yeah.
What other critters call Savanna Portage home?
Well, there are wolves and coyotes, of course,
Yeah.
and you'll find turtles, amphibians, all sorts of things. But one source really emphasized the ticks.
Ugh. Yeah, ticks are no fun. Tick checks are a must after any hike. So we've got the trails, the lakes, the camping, the wildlife. What about the best time to visit? Is there a prime season for Savanna Portage?
That's the beauty of this park. It's stunning year-round.
Really? So no matter when you go, there's something to see and do.
Exactly. In the spring, the wildflowers are incredible. In the summer, you've got all the water activities. Fall, it brings those vibrant colors. And in the winter, it's a winter wonderland, perfect for snowshoeing and cross-country skiing.
So we can enjoy Savanna Portage any time of year. I like it. But before we get lost in all the seasonal beauty, I think it's time to take a step back and dive into the history of this place.
Sounds good to me. Let's uncover the stories that make Savanna Portage so special. Remember that 6-mile Savanna Portage trail? The one that cuts through all those marshes and swamps?
Yeah, it sounded pretty intense.
Well, it wasn't just some scenic route. It was a vital transportation link for centuries, even before European settlers arrived.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah, Native Americans used it to travel between the Mississippi River and Lake Superior.
So they were hauling their canoes and everything across that tough terrain.
Exactly, and it wasn't just a physical challenge. This route was essential for trade and travel. It connected different communities and allowed for the exchange of goods and ideas.
It's amazing to think about how important that trail was.
Yeah.
And to think they did it all without any of the modern technology we have today.
Right. And then later on, fur traders also recognized the value of this route.
So they use it too.
They did. The Savanna Portage Trail wasn't just about getting from point A to point B. It was about connecting different worlds, different cultures, different economies, different ways of life.
It's incredible how one trail can hold so much history. And it's really cool that the park was established in 1961, in part to preserve this piece of Minnesota's past.
It definitely adds another layer to our exploration.
Speaking of layers, let's talk about the geology of Savanna Portage. We know it's on the Continental Divide, but there's even more to it than that, right?
There is. The park actually sits on the Laurentian Divide.
The Laurentian Divide.
Yeah. It's a much larger feature that separates waters flowing into the Atlantic Ocean from those flowing into Hudson Bay and the Arctic Ocean.
Wait, so we're not just talking about the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic, we're talking about 3 different oceans.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing when you think about it. This relatively small park is a hydrological crossroads. It influences the flow of water across such a huge area.
It really makes you appreciate how interconnected everything is, and how even a single raindrop can play a role in the grand scheme of things.
So how did all of this come to be? How did the landscape of Savanna Portage get to be the way it is?
That's where geology comes in. The Laurentian Divide, those rolling hills, the lakes carved by glaciers, the ancient bedrock formations. It's all a result of forces that shaped this region over millions of years. The park's landscape is like a story written in stone, a testament to the Earth's dynamic history.
So we're not just hiking through a park, we're hiking through time. Okay, let's go back to those 4 lakes, Loon, Wolf, Shumway, and Savanna. What else have we learned about them? Well, one interesting thing is that the area around Wolf Lake and the upper East Savanna River is known for being pretty wet, even marshy in some spots.
Oh no.
Yeah, and historically, travelers would actually choose a slightly longer route sometimes just to avoid the worst of the marshy areas.
It's like they were smart. I'd probably do the same thing.
And remember Loon Lake? The kayaker's paradise.
Yeah.
It's a no-wake lake. So no motorboats are allowed, which explains why it's so peaceful.
It's like stepping into a different world.
Yeah.
You see the water and the sounds of nature. What about fishing? Where are the best spots?
Shumway Lake seems to be the angler's choice. It's got that fishing pier and the campground is nearby.
Makes sense. So what kind of fish are we talking about?
Well, one of the YouTubers we watched showed a sign at Lake Shumway listing all sorts of fish: walleye, northern pike, bass, crappie, bluegill, pumpkin seed, and rock bass.
Wow, that's quite the variety. Are they native to the lake?
Well, they're stocked annually, so there's a good chance of reeling in something tasty.
Okay, I'm sold. A quiet lake, a well-stocked fishing pier, and the promise of a delicious catch. What more could you ask for?
Maybe a visit to the bog?
Oh yeah, the bog. I've always been fascinated by bogs. They seem so mysterious, almost like another world. What makes them so special?
Well, for one thing, they're home to some pretty unique plants and animals. The acidic environment and the fact that they're waterlogged creates a habitat that not many species can handle.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Think carnivorous plants, like pitcher plants and sundews, and then you've got specialized mosses and lichens. It's a totally different ecosystem within the park.
So it's not just about the trees and the lakes, it's about exploring these smaller, more hidden worlds too.
Exactly. And remember, bogs play a really important role in the larger ecosystem. They act like natural filters, purifying water and storing carbon. The Bog Boardwalk Trail at Savanna Portage is a great way to experience this fascinating world up close.
Definitely adding that to my list. It's amazing how a place like Savanna Portage can offer so much variety. For the grand scale of the Continental Divide to the intricate details of a bog ecosystem. But I'm guessing there's even more to uncover.
You're right. We're just scratching the surface. There's still so much to explore: unique camping options, hidden trails, and even more fascinating details about the plants and animals that call this park home.
Well, luckily we have part 3 of our deep dive to uncover all of that. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the heart of Savanna Portage. Welcome back to our Savanna Portage deep dive. Ready for the final leg of our journey?
I'm ready. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from the park's history as a vital portage route to its present-day status as an outdoor paradise.
We've imagined ourselves paddling on those peaceful lakes, casting a line hoping for a bite, and maybe even coming face to face with a black bear.
We've learned about the importance of bogs and stood in awe of the Continental Divide, but our exploration isn't over yet.
You're right. There are still a few more trails to blaze and stories to uncover. What else did your researcher dig up?
One thing that really stood out to me was the sheer variety of trails beyond that main Savanna Portage trail. You've got the Beaver Pond Loop, which I'd love to check out.
Yeah.
And of course the Bog Boardwalk Trail, which we've already talked about.
Speaking of bogs, what else can we learn about them? They just seem so mysterious and fascinating.
Bogs are like living time capsules. They preserve layers of history beneath that spongy surface.
It's incredible how these seemingly inhospitable environments play such a crucial role.
Right, and they're vital for water filtration and carbon storage. They act like giant sponges, helping to regulate our planet's systems.
Okay, so we've covered the trails and the bogs. What about the plant life? What kind of trees and flowers can we expect to see at Savanna Portage?
Well, the Minnesota DNR website for the park does a great job of describing all the different plants. It talks about how northern hardwoods like birch and aspen dominate the forests.
Okay.
And then you have some conifers mixed in, which adds to the diversity of the landscape.
So it's not just one big forest. It's a mosaic of different forest types, each with its own unique character.
Exactly, and that diversity carries over into the animal kingdom too.
We've already talked about the moose and the black bears and the deer. But what about some of the smaller creatures? The ones that are easy to miss if you're not paying attention.
Oh, there are plenty of those. One source mentioned that the park is a haven for birds.
Like what kind of birds?
You've got bald eagles, sharp-tailed grouse warblers, those boreal owls we talked about, sandhill cranes, trumpeter swans, and of course the loons.
Wow, that's amazing. It must be an incredible place for bird watching.
It is. It really speaks to the health of the park's ecosystems and its importance for migratory birds.
We can't forget about those pesky ticks, though. We need to remind our listeners to be careful.
Absolutely. Tick checks are a must after any outdoor adventure, especially in a place as wild as Savanna Portage.
Okay, so we've covered the trails, the lakes, the bogs, the plants, the animals, even the ticks. Any other Savanna Portage insights we need to share?
Oh, I almost forgot. One source mentioned a great group campsite located on Savannah Lake, perfect for family reunions or gatherings with friends.
That's awesome. It's great that they have an option for larger groups.
And remember those 100 campsites? Well, one source highlighted the semi-modern campsites at Lake Shumway Campground. They have electricity and running water, which can make for a more comfortable camping experience.
And then there are those camper cabins too, which are a nice alternative to tent camping if that's not your thing.
Exactly. Savanna Portage really does offer a little something for everyone.
I think we've done a pretty good job painting a picture of this hidden gem of a park.
We've explored its history, uncovered its secrets, and imagined ourselves adventuring through its diverse landscapes.
So if our listener takes away one thing from this deep dive, what would it be?
I'd say Savanna Portage is a place of discovery. It's a place to reconnect with nature, challenge yourself, and create lasting memories.
Well said. Savanna Portage is a reminder that adventure can be found in the most unexpected places, even in the heart of Minnesota.
So to our listeners, we encourage you to pack your bags, lace up your boots, and embark on your own Savanna Portage adventure.
And with that, we wrap up our deep dive into this incredible park. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have. Until next time, keep exploring and keep those adventurous spirits alive.